Thank you, everyone. It's 7 o'clock. We'll start the meeting. We do have a full quorum, so I could ask the board to review the minutes as submitted from the July meeting. If these motions accept or correct.
Make the motion to accept.
Thank you, Jenny. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second to accept the minutes as submitted. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Okay, we don't have any old business tonight, so on new business, we have a parcel at South 400 West, rezoned from ag, large lot A1 to rural residential for single-family residential use for William and Melissa Moore.
All right, first slide, please. Thank you. So this is a proposed rezone for a property on 400 West. It is approximately 88 acres. You can see outlined in the red dash here. It is zoned A1, which is our large lot agriculture, and that is what it's currently used for, is agriculture. It is a pretty odd shaped parcel. It touches a couple different roads and the rail line kind of area. But the area that we're going to be looking at is just here along 400 West. So I'm going to go to the next slide there. So the petitioner is looking to rezone approximately 3 acres, right here in this yellow, to rural residential. They want to split that off and build a single family home. The rest of the property, which is outlined again in that red dash, will remain large lot agriculture. No changes to use there. It'll just change size. That is really it. If you have any questions for myself or the petitioner, they are here. Did I miss anything? No? All right, cool. Or I can go into staff analysis if you have no questions and then open it up for a public hearing.
So these other two little sections that have been, were those just previously taken out of that parcel?
These two little
Yeah,
skip toots, that probably at some point these were just carved out to sell out.
yeah, they have those on.
Mhm.
Staff or a public hearing.
Do I do staff analysis first or do we? Okay, and then public hearing, okay. Okay, next slide. Oh, and this is just the exhibit to show you the description of where that parcel is and a legal description of this size, so. All right. Here. The function of planning staff is to analyze the petition against the comprehensive plan, other approved relevant plans and ordinances, as well as any existing conditions and or variances placed upon the site to present facts and analysis. So based on that analysis, staff has the following comments. The proposed rezone is fitting with surrounding larger lot residential and agriculture uses. The proposed rezone fits rural residential zoning standards for size and use. Does not pose any hazards to public health, safety, or welfare. Does not pose any major traffic, visual, or noise concerns. And if approved, the next steps for the petitioner would be to submit a building permit plot plan for the new residential build to make sure it's compliant with our UDO. At that time, they'd also need to obtain any other necessary permits, whether that's Fall Creek Regional Waste, Health Department, Soil and Water, anything of that nature would be done at that time. So that is all I have. I do have a potential condition on here. This was the plan of the petitioner anyway, was to parcel this property out of the parent parcel, sooner than later, because they're ready to build that house, and then dedicate you can see it on the survey exhibit of the property, the dedication of right of way. So that's dedicated out as its own parcel. 2 acres. It was 5. We changed it though, I think in 2023.
So 3.2 acres includes the right of way, so if it
Mhm.
was below 3, I just.
Yeah. Yep, it'll still fit. Go ahead and open the public hearing.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing now. Any comments or concerns from the audience, neighbors? Okay, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Entertain a motion to accept.
It's a PCO 903-2025-01.
Got it. And a motion to accept PC 09032025-1.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
All right, I have a motion to approve as submitted. Do I have a second?
Okay,
Second.
so it's a motion for a favorable recommendation.
Correct.
It goes to,
I have a motion and a second to accept as submitted. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Congratulations.
I said 7:15, 7:06, so.
You're welcome.
Yes. You're welcome to stay, but you're welcome to leave as well if you'd like. I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
So just a few updates, if you want to go to the next slide. Site plans submitted that have been approved since your last meeting. The Leaf Spring Child Care expansion on Village Drive, the Wawa gas station, as well as the Indigo Phase 2 is their service and showroom building, single building. I have some in the pipeline. These have been submitted. These were submitted a while ago, but they're still in review. Some back and forth on drainage. That's the BP gas station. They're at the northeast corner of the Heritage Way roundabout. And then the Subway Retail Center, they just got their BZA approval for building orientation in August. So their review has begun on that. So we're looking at a 30-day turnaround to get them their comments and then get that one going. Questions on those? Okay. All right, next thing I've got for you is a single UDO amendment. I know you. And really, it's just for legal use reasons. So Steph, if you'll go to page 18, it says page 187 UDO. At the bottom there. Thank you. We've been working with council to formalize our roadway and infrastructure acceptance process. Typically what we do right now, when we take over a road is when we accept the maintenance bond from a subdivision. So we're going to be formalizing that via a resolution that goes through town council. So, say a Hunsaker Farm roadway, Cold Springs Drive is ready to be turned over to the town. That performance bond is being switched out for a maintenance bond. We would describe the roadway, starts here, ends here. It's this many feet and or miles long. The town formally accepts this and the maintenance bond that you have given us. So it's kind of just formalizing that process. So we have an actual record of when we start to maintain roads, not just the bond paper. So I want to add that to both of these sections, A and B, number 6 of those sections. So A is the option 1 for recording a secondary plat, and then B falls under the option 2. So we have 2 ways you can do it. You can post all the bonds, record the plat, and start to sell the lots, or you can put in all the infrastructure or as much as you can. And then you give us performance and maintenance bonds, depending on what's done and what's not, and then you can record your plat. So it just depends on how much they want to post in bonds. Usually they don't want to do that because that's a lot of bonds. Any questions on that?
Good.
Excellent, okay. Just do a vote on that one, how do they? To vote to amend the UDO.
Yeah, and then ultimately amending it, and then this get notice of or, yes,
Yes.
open first and public.
Oh, open public hearing, okay.
Put it in the public hearing.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing on that. If there's any comments or questions as far as amending the UDO for the performance bonds as we changed. Questions or concerns, comments? Okay, hearing now, we'll close the public hearing. Mr. Resky. Now I entertain a motion to accept the changes as detailed in the UDO for the bonding.
So moved.
So we have a second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of the UDO, adoptions and corrections as submitted, please say aye. Those opposed, thank you.
That'll get on to the council.
So the next thing.
Yeah.
Next thing we have on our agenda, is the public draft of our comprehensive plan and our downtown plan by our consultants from HWC. So they have their own presentation, to show you where we're at with that and what our next steps look like. So Rachel, Haley, Ryan, do you need the laser clicker? Maybe, it's a real laser, so. But it's very good at pointing.
All right. Hey, guys. Wait a minute. How are you? Good. All right. Thank you so much for having us tonight. Our team is really excited to be presenting the comp plan, the work that we've been doing so far on the comp plan and the downtown revitalization plan. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rachel Christensen. I live in the town. I think, Bob, you're probably the only one that I don't know and worked with in the past, but you know, been a Pendleton area resident since 2007 and live in the downtown area. So Pendleton is, I've worked here for quite a few years too. So, and got to help write the last comp plan update that we did. So nice to be back again, being able to work on this and keep moving Pendleton forward. So my team tonight, I've got Brian Sheehan with me. He's our best business development guy. He smiles a lot and he's a lot of fun. And then I've also got Haley. She is also a lot of fun and excellent at the work that she does. So I was really excited when she got on this team to help us with the comp plan and the downtown plan updates. So let's jump into this. So if you can flip to the next slide, please. I've already done some introductions, but tonight we're going to do just a project overview of both of the plans, the comp plan and then the downtown revitalization plan. And then we'll talk about next steps, which generally relates to the adoption process. Keep going. There's the team. Also, one who worked really hard on this too is Genevieve Ravenwood. Genevieve's been working with me for several years now. And again, she was really great to have on this project with us as well. All right, so just a brief project overview. If you remember, go ahead, you go to the next one. The last comp plan we completed in 2018. This was right before we had a tornado hit us and COVID. So it was good that we kind of got those things done before we got distracted with a million other things. And then our last downtown plan was completed in 2015. So that one, if you remember, was an Okra planning grant that we got. We got that in 2014, and then the plan was actually completed in 2015. So that's a decade old. The comp plan is kind of almost reaching that decade old time range. So it was really time to update both of them. Both of the plans then, we did these in tandem. So we had the overarching name of Plan Pendleton. And that really helped us, advertise that out to the public at the same time. Instead of having these two different planning processes going on and two different surveys, we kind of consolidated everything, pushed it all out at one time. And I think that was really helpful. And we got a lot of good, consistent feedback between those two elements. And the other really good thing about doing this all in tandem was that, your documents now talk to each other. So your downtown plan is very much in line with what the comprehensive plan is saying. And I would say if there's something that you're looking through the comp plan and it's not quite there, go to that downtown plan and it's likely that you'll find it there. So the two of them support each other. This is also helpful for when we're going after grants, that you can point to these documents and say, not only is it listed in our comprehensive plan, but it's also in our downtown plan. And that, helps give you guys some extra bonus points. It shows that the community really truly is in alignment and that you've done your homework with public engagement. All right, let's keep going. So what is a comprehensive plan? If you're on the plan commission and you don't know, that might be a problem. But for the rest of the room who doesn't do this every day or every month, a comp plan is a long range for development and community investment. So there's three things that it has to have according to state law, which is a statement of objectives for future development, a statement of policy for land use development, and then a policy for the development of public ways, public lands, and public utilities. So generally, you need to have that future land use back in there that explains, what the town's vision is for your future. And also talking about, how your roads are gonna change and evolve over time, any of your other public lands and public spaces. So this document, I like to describe it as almost like the welcome mat for your community. Because people who want to come to Pendleton, developers, people who are residents or future residents, they oftentimes can go to that comp plan and take a look at it and see if this is the community that they want to be a part of. They want to see what direction you're going for your future. It also is used by elected officials, not you elected officials, you guys are appointed, but your elected officials like your town council, your town staff, community organizations, property owners, when making decisions about land use, transportation, utilities, and more. So it is a great guiding document for the town to have. Oh, and I get to talk about a downtown revitalization plan too. So this is a very similar, but it's a little bit more focused. So instead of looking at the broader community, this really zeroes in on just downtown Pendleton. And this is that long-range guide for development and community investment in the downtown and surrounding neighborhood. And same thing, it's used by your elected and appointed officials. So your Historic Preservation Commission is also going to be using this document. Other organizations in the town, like Main Street Pendleton, will be using this. And like I said earlier, this does help the town qualify for funding opportunities. This list that's up there is not all inclusive by any means, and there's a lot of change in the state and at the national level on these funding sources. So, with that landscape changing, some of these, next level trails is one that has not been funded, but there's obviously at the very end of this list, we have preserving Main Street, which we all know is a very exciting time for the town that we're in the running for those funds. So this document will definitely help tell that story of Pendleton and how dedicated we are to developing our downtown and redeveloping our downtown. So why plan? With this document, we evaluate existing conditions. So we look at our demographics, how have they changed since 2018? We look at the landscape, how has, development patterns changed since then? And then this helps us really establish clear vision and goals for our future. And this will also identify recommendations that translate those goals and that vision into actionable items. And I think that's where, we at HWC, we have a lot of pride in our plans because we do kind of break that down into, it's not just this fluffy goal out there, but we give those actionable steps on how you actually move these ideas forward. We had a 4-phase process that we worked through. You can see the red text over there that we are here. So we've gone through a lot to get to this phase. The first one, we kind of started out with Hannah and her staff with an initial coordination visit, and I think it was a cold day in January. We got our steering committee set up, and we also at the same time got the downtown plan steering committee set up. And we started with those first steering committee meetings and doing a lot of background research and analysis. In our second phase, this one really focused on public engagement. We have a project website. If you have not visited it yet, it's planpendleton.com, and it has all the information that we've done up to this point that you can take a look at. It listed out every single public engagement opportunity. It had our public engagement survey on there. Has a public participation report, and it's for both the comp plan and that downtown plan. So it's a one-stop shop. We hosted a public workshop in this room, and this was a packed house. I think we had over 50 people giving us input at that public workshop. And then we got to phase 3, which is forming the plan, which is really where we started putting the kind of the meat and potatoes together on both plans. We then had a big ideas open house where we had the public come back and tell us what they thought about it. We wrapped up our final steering committee meetings about a month or so ago, and we've gotten that public draft out. So I hope you guys have had the opportunity to kind of look through those. Tonight we're here at this public presentation, and then our next steps will be going into the adoption process. We can keep going. Like I said, that community engagement phase, we had several opportunities for the public to tell us what they wanted for Pendleton. We had a series of focus groups. So for the downtown plan, we had 4. For the comp plan, we had 4. And in total, we had 34 people participate in those. We had some really great discussions about various topics. We were actually almost at 60 in this room for the public workshop. The Big Ideas open house we had out at the Community Sports and Wellness building, which was really cool because I think there was a lot of different traffic coming through there that may not have come to town hall. We had about 56 people there. And then our online survey, we had just over 400 responses. I think Genevieve like called me the day that it was closing and she's like, Rachel, I have 399. And I was like, well, I'm a resident, I'll take it. So we can at least hit 400 and then someone else filled one out. So there we are, we got 401. All right, so comp plan. So in the comprehensive plan, when you review it, you can see that there's a vision, which is kind of that foundational piece from which everything else is built. And then there's several goals that are identified. Under each goal, there are objectives, and those are the general steps that it needs to take to achieve that goal. And then there's those action items that I was talking about. So those step-by-step things on what the town can do to achieve, the objectives, the goals, and then of course that overarching vision. So the vision statement that was developed with the steering committee is that inspired by a rich history as a thriving community along the banks of Fall Creek, the town of Pendleton strives for an even brighter future made possible through a commitment to sustainable growth, economic resilience, and community partnership. Pendleton actively invests in parks, public and private amenities, and historic preservation, fostering an outstanding quality of life, cultivating an engaged community of residents and business owners, and preserving a distinct sense of place. I think the group did a really great job of kind of summarizing that feel and that culture of Pendleton for this comprehensive plan. I won't go through every single supporting goal that we have, but I'll kind of give you the highlights. We've got a land use goal, which of course is looking at the future land use for Pendleton. There's been several, I'll show you a map in just a bit on kind of some of the things that we talked about and that are in that future land use map. Also some areas that are outside of Pendleton right now that might be worthwhile of pursuing annexation. We also have a housing and neighborhoods goal, an economic development goal. Let's keep going. Transportation, infrastructure and services, and then also a green infrastructure goal, which I think is a little bit new from the last time that we did a comprehensive plan. And this one kind of focuses a little bit, sorry, I kept going. This looks at, stormwater. We've done a lot of improvements lately on stormwater, but how can we do that in a way that, maybe works with the land a little bit more, and things like that. All right, let's keep going. Thanks, Stephanie. We've got a parks and recreation goal, which I want to make sure that we're clear. This is not taking any part, like it's not covering what the Parks and Recreation Master Plan is doing, but it does support parks and recreation for Pendleton. There's a design and placemaking goal, a historic preservation goal, and then an arts and culture goal, which all of those things really relate back to quality of place. All right, so this is our 2018 future land use map. And it's so funny because I remember sitting in this room when we held our kickoff meeting for this comprehensive plan, and I was a much younger planner at the time, and I was very nervous I was going to screw the town up. And so now being back here this many years later, I think it's so funny to look back on this and kind of remember that time. So here was our future land use map at the time. We had just done some annexations. I think we had the ones off of 132 that were just completed. I think in 2014, they officially came into town. So we had a lot of new land mass that we were thinking about how that would improve and what we would do with it. So you kind of see those areas of town were new to us. All right, let's go to the next one. Our classifications, we thought at the time, the 2018 classifications lined up exactly with the zoning ordinance and what those land use classifications were. We know that since 2018, we've done a UDO update, thankfully. And now in 2025, it just made a lot of sense for us to revise some of those classifications to make sure that they spoke well with the UDO and that they were helping us move forward in a direction that made more sense for our future. So, we kind of revised some of the housing classifications and simplified those a little bit. Also, I would say we revised some of the commercial and the industrial districts as well. So you can kind of see the side-by-side comparison of those future land use classifications. And with that, this is your new proposed future land use map. You can see that the land use, if we can compare the two maps side by side, you can see that a lot of change has happened on the west side, where State Road 13 and along the interstate is a little bit different than what we had planned in 2018. Let's see what else. We've got a lot more residential. I think we've had a lot of agriculture areas identified before. And now we're putting an actual a future land use to those, so that if it does come through, we can say that this could be appropriate for future or for residential. And of course, there's that caveat of you have to have utilities before you can have a subdivision further out west. All right, let's keep going. There were also some areas that are not currently in town that we thought were important to show on that future land use map, so that if they do come into town at some point, the Plan Commission has some good guidance on what that future land use should be for those areas. So notably, there's the kind of those donut areas where the Foster Branch neighborhoods surrounding those Foster Branch neighborhoods, and then a couple of little pocket parcels along State Road 38. IMI on the northeast side is one area that the steering committee talked a lot about. And then also the newer industrial area on the south side off of State Road 9 and State Road 67. And there was a couple other little pockets on the west side off of County Road 300 West that were not included in town yet, but we thought we should plan for those. And then you can also see where the adjacent municipalities are in relation to the town of Pendleton. So where Anderson, LaPel, and Ingalls kind of touch our boundaries and where there's still some gaps. Like I said, we had revised some of the future land use classifications. And one of the things that I think is going to be a very helpful tool for planning staff is that we don't just have a brief description of those future land use classifications anymore. We go into much more detail about what types of uses are envisioned for those future land use categories. So, along with the update of the classifications, we're also going into more depth. It's like we've grown up in this comp plan and are taking those next steps to help planning staff and help you guys have tools and guidance for when you do have petitions coming through. We can kind of flip through these. And all of them have some images, some precedent imagery of, what these classifications could look like. Keep going. All right. So I'm going to pass this over to Haley now, and she's going to run through the downtown plan real quick. And then if I don't know if you guys want to ask comp plan questions now, or if we want to do downtown plan first and then ask, or if we just do all the questions at the end. Does anyone have a preference?
The comp plan for the use.
Okay,
Question comp.
sounds good.
While it's fresh.
Yeah. Got any audience or any comments or questions?
All right,
We'll move forward.
either baffled everyone or we nailed it. All right, there you go, Haley.
Yeah. Good evening. As Rachel said, my name is Haley Rourke. I'm a planner and project manager at HWC Engineering. I've had the pleasure of working with Rachel and Denise and Hannah Rose on both plans, and it's been a really fun and exciting process, and we're happy to kind of be nearing the end and here to share it with you all and the rest of the public. So as Rachel mentioned, the downtown plan uses a similar kind of organization as the comp plan. So we have that overarching vision statement, and then underneath that is the goals, objectives, and action items. So the vision statement, downtown Pendleton stands apart from other central Indiana communities due to its authenticity, creativity, and exceptionally well-preserved history and heritage. Residents and visitors are drawn to the district's small town charm, locally owned businesses, lively festivals, and impressive recreational acre as Fall Park. There are 4 kind of overarching goal statements that guide or oversee kind of the organization of the downtown plan. The first one is about economic and business development, so promoting the downtown district as a vibrant community hub. The second one is about gathering and programming, so designating the downtown district as the town's central gathering space. And then we have 2 separate goals related to character and design. So if you think about the character of design, you can think about the public realm, the stuff that is within the right of way, essentially, and then you have the private realm, which is more so on the private development side of things. With that, the plan also explores kind of 4 key areas for redevelopment. And really, these are just some big idea kind of thoughts that are put together to kind of illustrate a vision. But I think it's important to note that each one of these the town decides to move forward at some point in the future with these ideas, would have its own kind of design and review process. These are really just intended to highlight some big ideas. So the four key locations, the first one at the top, at the northeast corner of Pendleton Avenue is State Street. The second one is just south of that, again, at the corner of State Street and Pendleton Avenue. And then we have two along Pendleton Avenue near High Street. Before we get into kind of the concepts, it is important to note that each of these were presented at the Big Ideas Open House. So the public has seen these and provided comments. I think people were generally kind of interested and excited about the ideas. The two kind of questions or concerns that came up were related to parking and then about historic preservation. So just ensuring that if and when these areas do develop, that the town is just being mindful of accommodating for parking spaces, and then just being mindful of kind of the historic structures. I think there was some concern of if we were proposing something different for a historic structure, and we definitely weren't. We would not go so far to say that. So anything that is proposed as something different is not a historically significant structure. We can go through them real quick. So the first one, redevelopment site number 1 is at the corner of State and Pendleton Avenue. This is really a concept that explores kind of the central gathering place that could really connect the downtown district to Falls Park. So there are a variety of kind of gathering amenities illustrated on here, but there's also opportunities for some infill development here. I think a couple of years ago, you all did some work with Ball State, and they started to explore this block. And so this concept really kind of builds on the work that Ball State had already done for the town. And all of those concepts are also included kind of in the plan as an appendix to kind of support the idea here. Moving on to the second concept, just south of that site, this is your kind of existing public parking lot that's next to the bank. And so this concept really starts to explore the idea of creating some infill opportunities while balancing the need for that parking. So there's a parking garage component involved with a mixed use kind of concept. I think a lot of people were interested in this concept because it's a little different, but it's also kind of hard to wrap your head around seeing how all of those components could fit together. But really it focuses on, accommodating some residential along with retail and the parking structure while still maintaining kind of that drive-through access for the bank. Site number 3 is at Pendleton Avenue in I'm sorry. This one does have a historic home in the corner, and so we are kind of proposing an adaptive reuse. So maybe that could eventually become kind of a really cool restaurant with outdoor seating and really just kind of activate the space along with some mixed use infill along Pendleton Avenue. Moving on to the last one, redevelopment site number 4. This one incorporates, again, mixed use kind of infill. You'll see though that the interesting component about this one is it includes some townhomes. I think one of the things we heard in kind of both the processes is that, Pendleton could benefit from some diverse kind of housing opportunities, so that missing middle housing component. So this one does present an opportunity to incorporate some townhomes along with some mixed use as well. With some private parking and some amenities for those future residents if this were to develop that way. So that is a high level kind of overview of the vision, goals, and key projects. In terms of next steps, we're happy to kind of take any questions or comments you have tonight, and then we'll be back here for your October meeting for the official kind of public hearing to start the adoption process. And then once we get through that, we can move on to town council for the adoption. I appreciate your time tonight, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them. Thank you all.
Thanks, Charlie. Any questions? From the audience? Comments? Step up, go to man.
When you're talking about parking garage, do we have a height level of the town, like only 2 stories or 3 stories? I didn't know.
We currently have height requirements for buildings, but there's always variances for other buildings. People ask for variances, so when that happens, we'll address that, but
Yeah.
I would assume it will be one of the higher structures in town.
Okay, also, would there be parking for golf carts? Cause there's a lot of people in town that, that drive their golf carts around.
In the parking garage or in general?
Yeah, or anywhere.
It could be, I guess you pay the same rate as a car in a parking garage.
Well, they take up so much less space than a car, so.
Still space,
Yeah,
still space.
just thought we could fit a lot more in.
Anybody have some questions or comments? Bruce?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
Got one thing. I guess if you were part of either steering committee, could you raise your hands?
Were we?
Yes. So there
People.
was good representation. There were plan commission members, lots of members that are in the public right now tonight that were part of, helping bring these plans together. So we appreciate their time and we had good participation,
Yeah.
through both processes. So not that I'm shocked, it's Pendleton. So nice job, everyone.
I go back to the comp plan on the, we're working on I-69
Yeah.
update there and how that, depending on how that turns out, how we would mesh that with what the comp plan is has right now.
So right now, another team at HWC, it's Chris Ham's team, is working on the interchange master plan. So we purposely kind of wanted to keep the processes separate because we didn't want, if something was inflamed on one project, that it would spill over and, halt progress on the other. So we wanted to kind of keep them a little bit separate in the adoption processes. So what we've done though, kind of on the back end, is our team has coordinated and collaborated with Chris's team to kind of see what the discussions have been with that group right now, and making sure that anything that's coming out of those discussions is getting reflected in either the future land use map or any of the goals and strategies from the comprehensive plan. So, right now, I think we're still keeping an eye, because I think the proposed adoption for the interchange master plan will come after the first of the year. Whereas this will get approved, hopefully in November. And if there's anything that is in the interchange master plan, I think that will likely get adopted as part of the comp plan. So when that happens, it will go back to plan commission, and then it will go back to town council again as almost an amendment to the comprehensive plan. So that document will then supersede, whatever parts and pieces are in the comp plan.
But I think just looking at your land use plan anyway, since it is more general, and it's just kind of, I think in that particular area, there's local commercial, there's mixed use, and then there's some single family. I don't necessarily think that those would, change, but if they need to, it would just be an amendment. But I think since that's such a high level and the I-69 plan is really into the minutia,
Yeah.
that those two things aren't gonna contradict one another.
Yeah, I mean, we would call it a sub area plan. So
Yeah.
the downtown plan is almost a sub area plan of your comprehensive plan. And it's going to be the same thing with the interchange master plan.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yep.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good.
In your maps, there's where the gas station is in red, and where the stable of the new in Italy
Yes,
pizza place is in red. What does the red symbolize?
we go back to that one. I think it was redevelopment site 1. So those are highlighting kind of typical land use colors. So we would picture that to be like a commercial or retail use.
Okay, so it's not changing, it's just, well,
Well, the ones on the corner of Broadway and State would be new additions, like new buildings.
Yeah.
And then number 9 is in Italy and the stable.
mhm. Okay, I just was curious.
Thank you.
Any comments, questions? Really appreciate you folks coming. It means a lot with the public. Attend these meetings, especially for the plans in the future, so. Comments, questions, we want? Hannah?
I don't have anything else.
About the line stuff.
So I think we would just ask, make sure you review the plans. When we come back, next month, we'll be looking for a recommendation to the town council from the group.
Comments between now and then, do you want us to send those to you ahead of the meeting then?
Yes.
Questions?
Yep, if it's something, then we can talk with planning staff on how we address it in the plan, we can do that. Or if it's something we need to talk about at the next meeting, we can do that.
Lynn?
Is this all online now?
Yes.
Planpendleton.com.
Okay.
That it? Thank you, meeting adjourned.